Okay, hi guys. So what we're going to look at today in preparation for the beginning of year 10 is surds. We're going to do this all this week. We looked at surds at the beginning of the year, but we did it in more of a basic level. So what we're going to do now is sort of go a little bit more in detail and see what we can do. Okay, now a surd, we have two types of number. We have rational and irrational. Okay, now a rational number, so root 25 is rational because the square root of 25 is 5. Okay, so it's a number that could be written as a fraction basically, so 5 is 5 over 1. Root 3 is an irrational number because if you put root 3 in the calculator, you get a decimal that is non-recurring. Okay, so a number that is non-recurring, a bit like pi, is called an irrational number. Okay, this cannot be simplified any further. Okay, so we've got rational numbers and irrational numbers. Okay, so basically you know if it's irrational if you end up with a number that's not recurring. Now your top tip here is looking for square numbers when we're simplifying. Okay, we'll refer back to that in a minute. Now the rule of surds is when you multiply them, root 3 times root 3. Well, root 3 times root 3 is root 9. So that means root 3 times root 3 is 3. That could be proven algebraically if I said root a times root a would simply be a. Okay, so that's one fundamental rule that's quite easy to go back to. So if I did that again, root 8, which is irrational, and root 2, which is irrational, so root 8 times root 2 is root 16, and root 16, as you know, is 4. Okay, so we've now made a rational number by multiplying two irrationals. Right, this lesson we're going to look at simplifying. So I've got 8 examples that we're going to do together. So I suggest that you do them in your book, and then when you come to do the quiz, then you can look at how you did them in your book and then see if you can follow them that way. So I said to you, look out for square numbers. So to simplify it, you need to take out a square number. So what square number goes into 75? Oh, and take out the biggest one. So the biggest number I can think of that goes into that is 25. So that's the same as root 25 times root 3, because 25 times 3 makes 75. Well, root 25 is 5. Okay, and that will be 5 root 3. Notice there's no gap between the 5 and the root. Be careful when you're doing the quiz on teams that you do the same. It's not a little 5, it's not the 5th root of 3, it's 5 times root 3. Okay. The next one, what's the biggest number that goes into 32? 16. So I always put the square number first. So root 16 times root 2. Well, root 16 we know is 4. So that's 4 lots of root 2. Okay. 500, the biggest square number I know there is 100. So that'll be 100 times 5, which will be 10 root 5 because the square root of 100 is 10. Okay, right, looking at the next one. Now, I've got 3 times root 8. So I'm going to simplify this root 8 first. 8, the biggest square number I can take out is 4. Okay, so that's 3 times, so I've done that bit there. So root 4 times root 2. Now root 4 we know is 2, so that's the same as 3 times 2 times root 2. 3 times 2 is 6, so 6 lots of root 2. Okay, I've got another one like that. So 4 root 12. So I need to simplify that root 12 first. Well, the biggest square number I've got there is 4. Okay, now I know that's 2, so 4 times 2 times root 3. Simplify that, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 root 3. Okay, get that one lined up. So 25 is the biggest square number there, 7 times 25 times, so root 25 times root 2. Root 25 is 5, so that's going to be 35 root 2. Okay. This is one to that. Root 8 times root 2 is root 16, and root 16 is 4. Okay, and the last one, just move that drop there. Root 5 times root 10 is root 50. Then take out square number. Well, I've got 25. Okay, so that's 5 root 2. So all those surds are simplified. Now you've got a quiz that I've done for you on this one. When you're putting your answer into quiz, I think all of the answers are something root something. Make sure there's no gap between the number and the root there. There is a root button that you've got on that quiz. Use these notes to help you, okay, and you'll get your results instantly on that one, okay. Good luck.